last few days, and I know Chelsea was saying some of this is injury related, but I was asking him, like, is there more, not less patience, and, like, I don't know exactly how you'd want to put it, but like with a lot of capable guys at AAA who are getting closer and closer to Major League ready, is there more of an inclination to say, you know, if a guy's struggling, well, we have a capable replacement, or we can, you know, be more lenient with that, or less lenient with that, however you want to put it?
Yeah, I mean, we want to see young players get opportunity because they've earned it, because they've performed at a level in AAA, or accomplished development goals, and they're doing the stuff off the field we're asking them to. Obviously, we like that to happen organically through them earning that, performing, forcing their way on, as opposed to because of injuries. But injuries are going to happen, you know that. And of course, sometimes that is the way opportunity opens up, and it's happened a couple times here this week. So the guys that have gotten a chance to come up, including this week, we think are guys who perform really well and doing the things on the field that we've asked them to do, but also being great teammates and, you know, showing really consistent effort every day. And so it's exciting to see that happen. And you think about a guy like Santos, in Mitchell's case in particular, since this is their first time here. These are guys that have come through the organization or, you know, joined the Pirates as teenagers and grinded through and performed, and are good kids and a lot of happy people in the organization to see them get called.
I guess what I was trying to ask, and I know I rambled there, but with, you know, a guy like Bryce Wilson, right? Mm-hmm. Like, there is a world, I assume, where you could keep working with him up here, but since you have a guy like Roansy who has fulfilled what you wanted to see from him, you can cycle through. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I mean, sometimes it's not always that close a relationship, right? It's two different things. In Bryce's case, we felt like after the outing on Sunday, as we were talking about it, that there's some things that we think he can be better at, and when he is better at, will help him be a successful Major League pitcher. And we felt like, based on all the information we had at the time, that the best place for him to work on that after Sunday was to get some run in AAA. That was independent from the decision on who would come up, and you know, so independent of that, you know, Roansy had gone down to AAA, done what we asked him to do, built the pitch count up. Pitching well, using all his pitches in the way we asked him to. So we're looking forward to seeing him pitch back here.
Ben, is there any formula for how long you give guys? I imagine it has to be individual basis, but how do you go about making those decisions?
Yeah, it is really individual basis, and you start with just, you know, how are they doing on the development goals that were set in front of them. And it doesn't have to be perfect. Like, that's, you know, there's lots of guys in the big leagues helping teams win that are not perfect. So it's not about perfection, but it's about, you know, it is, you do want to see some progress toward a target, and then other things get layered on top of that. You know, aside from that, you know, how the other parts of their game, if it's a position player, you know, you want to know that they're going to handle the plays defensively and be dependable there. Effort and teammate matters. You know, we're always asking about that. Obviously, relying on our player development staff to give us feedback on that. And then opportunity. You know, how does that fit? Whether it's A ball to AA or AAA to the big leagues, what is the opportunity? Is there opportunity? And is the opportunity lining up with what we think that player needs? Right? Like, we don't want to call a player up to not play an amount of time that we think is best for them. And so all that stuff gets mixed up in the wash. Comes back to the decision. And sometimes you get, you know, sometimes injuries do force you a little bit. You do have those times, but hopefully more often than not, they're based on the first criteria I mentioned.
Obviously, kind of a confluence effect. You mentioned the injury, that the reason it's Roansy and Yerry and Keller here. But what does it kind of say about, you know, where you are in the team building process to be able to, you know, have those be the kind of guy you're relying on, having the young guys and kind of setting the tone for potentially more young guys to come along?
Yeah, you know, we need lots of them, right? Like, we need lots of, you know, really good position players, lots of really good pitchers, and we know that a good number of those really good players have to come from our organization, and guys that have moved through the system or we've acquired and gotten better since the time we acquired them. And so, you know, in Roansy and Cal's case, those are two examples of guys that we think have a chance to be part of that group of players going forward. And in Mitch's case, it's exciting. I mean, this is a high school position player taken in the draft, and fought his way through the minor leagues. And to his credit, I think we've talked about this before. They made a decision on the roster last winter where he wasn't added, and he responded to that exactly the way you'd want a young player to respond. He's busted his tail, like he was disappointed, as you would expect he would be. Busted his tail every day since, and he's turned himself into a better player, and is, based on the feedback we got from our AAA staff, really has been our most consistent position player in Indy all year. So he earned this, and we're happy for him.
Where have you seen those areas of growth with Cal?
Yeah, so before you do offense, just the defense has been really consistent in all spots. Not just the plays he's making, and we can look at it subjectively and objectively. We look at the metrics; they're all positive. But much like I know Shelty and others have talked about, the amount of time Ben Cherington spends running back up get bases, but we have the same metrics in AAA, and Cal Mitchell is running more than any outfielder in AAA, and that says something about the effort he's putting in, even away from plays he's making. So that stood out. Offensively, he's always made contact. He's getting a little bit more impact this year, driving the ball, and that's just probably a natural progression. He's getting stronger, a little bit older, and learning what pitches to maybe let it go on a little bit, and the base running's been really good too. He's stolen bases efficiently, and he's always been a good teammate. So I think it's just continued improvement. Really, nothing that, not that he's a drastically different player than he was last year. He's just a little better version of the same player.
I can see these three kids get here in the span of 24, 48 hours. And I think in this market, maybe more than most others, they follow the guys in the minor leagues. So they see those guys get here and they want more. They want O'Neill, they want Mason, all of that. Yes, is this the start of a morphing of this big league roster?
I guess I feel like it's started a long time ago and will never end. It's always going to be. That's always going to be something that happens here. And again, it's case by case, individual. We've got to think about what the opportunity is, the timing, what are guys working on. To what extent have they met the targets in AAA, and probably a little bit also of a little bit at a time isn't the worst thing in the world. I don't think we see we all look at around the league what's happening, and we're reminded that the major leagues is a really hard place to play. And there's very high profile young players in the major leagues who perform really well in the minor leagues who are struggling in the major leagues right now. It's a hard place to play, and so of course, yes, we want more and more guys to get that opportunity. We got to pick our spots and timing, and this week it's Cal's turn and Roansy's turn and Yerry's turn, and see what happens down the road.
Ben, I wanted to ask a question about Mitch Keller, but it involved Dewey Roberts. I can't help but kind of make the connection seeing Dewey around the major league team. Have you guys picked his brain about Tampa and the last now? A lot of people, including myself, have compared the two, trying to avoid Tyler Glasnow 2.0. Is that somebody you can lean on and try to use different methodologies?
He's an incredible resource. I mean, we lean on him for any sort of pitching development thing that we're trying to figure out, not specific to Mitch Keller, and not just Dewey, obviously. Oscar, Mess, Josh Hopper, all of our coaches. Really everything is a collaboration. But it's been fun getting to know Dewey and being able to pick his brain. He's seen just about everything there is to see in pitching development in his life. And he's got great insight. So yeah, of course we pick his brain. Mitch Keller is Mitch Keller. I don't think he is, I think we just think about Mitch Keller. And he's not exactly like anybody else. He's exactly like Mitch Keller. And what excites me about Mitch Keller is that he busted his tail this winter to put himself in a position where we believe he's stronger, healthy, velocity increased, and those are really good building blocks. If pitchers do that and have that kind of foundation underneath them, it opens up other opportunities in terms of pitch design or usage or different things you do. So now that's the process he's in now, is trying to fine-tune those pitches and figure out the best mix for him inside if it works against a major league lineup. And that's going to be something that's specific to him, I believe, and not about any other pitcher.
Feel free to correct me if I'm wrong, but obviously Roansy got pace up here before in sort of limited capacity, just in terms of what he's built up to do. How excited are you just to see him get a start? I assume get a start and just go. You know what I'm saying? Get full blown, you're stretched out, just go show.
Yeah, well, he's one of our 14 guys here right now. He's really important, and we're looking forward to seeing him like we look forward to seeing any of our guys. But it's been fun getting to know him and watching his progress over the last year or two. And we've talked about it last year, but his pitches have gotten better, more crisp. His usage has gotten probably more consistent to who he is as a pitcher, and other things have developed too. His feel for the game, the language, it's all coming along, and that's fun to watch and be a part of and support. And so yeah, it'll be fun to see him out there tonight competing against a major league.
Would you agree that it is a long way to the top if you want to rock and roll?
That was good use of that line. It's hard. Usually I pick up on the soundtrack, but I have all these beautiful faces in front of me. I'm not as focused on music as I normally would be.
With so many young guys, it's never just a matter of they're going to come up, they're going to be the best version of themselves, and then you go from there. It's going to be some of them come up and play well, some of them come up and kind of go through their shows. So, one, what do you kind of look for outside of the results themselves? And two, how do you kind of strike that balance between, maybe it's about letting them grind through it and go through it, or the flip side of it, maybe they do need to get some additional kind of doing.
Yeah, it's certainly you want to see consistent effort, and it probably even just as important or more important than effort is what happens after a mistake. Because if you're going to make mistakes, guys are going to make mistakes at this level. Young players, any player, young or old, are going to make mistakes on the field, and that's just a given. And so we'd like to see the response from those mistakes. Stay in the game, get the next pitch or make the next play or whatever it is. So we look at that, and then just decision making and adjustments inside the game. So Jack Sawinski is a good example of a guy who, if you just look at the top overall line, the batting line, it's not going to pop out right now. But in our estimation, he's mostly making good decisions at the plate, mostly seeing pitches and not chasing pitches. He's made quite a bit of hard contact. And if we think about Jack Sawinski long term, he keeps doing that stuff. He's just going to keep getting better by seeing major league pitching. And as long as the other parts of the game, the effort's there, the response to mistakes is there, then we're going to feel good about that. So that's not, and then you just keep assessing that. There are certainly times when either we think it's best for a player to go back down and maybe work on some stuff and take a breather, or just the situation forces that sometimes. That's going to happen, but we would try to look at that other stuff first while the guys here.
Ben, do you have the move or moves to get Cal?
We do. Still working through conversations with players, so not ready to announce that, but yeah, we need to make them here soon.
I'm going to check with guys who drafted last year. Some of the guys from last year drafted Sorrento, Bubba, David Bishop.
Yeah.
Are they still in the FCL?
They're on. Those guys you mentioned are extended along with Lonnie White, and that program turns into the Florida Complex League or whatever they're calling it now, and I think that league starts in June. And so if you're still there, they just move into that league and play in that league. And it's also possible that you can see guys move to the Marauders at some point.
Would you prefer to get them?
I think it's again case by case, and we'll kind of go off of what our player development staff is telling us about how things are going. The performance isn't as public there because you can't look up the box scores, but we can. We see it every day, so it's no different really for us. And Lonnie's had a hamstring thing, and so he was out for a while. But the rest of the guys are all playing in those games, and in Solomon, and Brailovich is playing every day, and Solometo and Chandler, and Owen Pelican's case, they're getting their innings in on a regular starting schedule. They're all doing well, so yeah, we'll see where it goes the rest of the year. But whether it's in the Pirate City Complex League or Bradenton, you'll be able to see actual box scores soon enough.
Are you still going to have 2 teams in the Complex League, or how does that affect things? How does that affect things if you're just having one, like in terms of where? So
basically, we would have the one complex team, and then we'll have a group of players. You can move guys on and off that roster. So we'd have an additional group of players that is there, and it might be days where those guys aren't playing, and we would have that be a development day. Do some more intentional practice stuff with that group that's not in the game that day. And guys can move on and off that roster.
Ben, do you have any additional clarity or whatever on Henry Davis? I think you said on the radio before too long. Is that like a week, a month, 2 months?
Well, we're hoping that he can ramp up baseball activity in days, not weeks. But it's obviously going to go off how he's feeling, and he's feeling better from what I know. But, we're going to be cautious with it too and listen to what he's saying. But our hope is that he's ramping up baseball activity before too long.
So how do you
I was going to ask you have 5 guys that were batting below the Mendoza line. I know you just said that that's not the only metric that you're evaluating them on, but how much is there maybe notice being served, and that's not necessarily the message, but notice being served to some of these veterans that they got to perform because you do have prospects that are on the brink?
I don't think we have to serve it. I think our players are really smart, aware, competitive. Like, they know where they're at, and they know they want to perform well, and they're pros. So I think they come in here every day just trying to get better and trying to have good at bats. And it's important just to keep the overall offensive kind of landscape in mind. And batting averages are down everywhere. It's Mendoza line doesn't seem so bad anymore. It used to be a low watermark, and I'm not sure it is anymore. That doesn't mean we don't want to get better, obviously, we do, but so we keep that context in mind. The overall league offensive environment being what it is, and you think about, Brian Reynolds is, his numbers aren't what they were at the end of last year, and we think he's trending in the right direction. And then you look at his performance in the context of the league, and based on our stuff, he's still an above average offensive player for the league. So we keep that in mind. But then more importantly, we just again try to look at those underlying skills, what's going on. So what decisions are they making? How are the decisions? What's the quality of contact? Are they swinging at the right pitches? And if enough of that stuff is either good or getting better over time, we believe that over time will lead to more production. And whether that's an older player or younger player, same things. We try to look at that, and that's what we try to keep our guys focused on too.
And how do you keep that context in mind of what your overall plan is when you're not getting the consistent results in the major league level?
Yeah, actually, that's interesting. It kind of reminds me that I know that it seemed that some stuff I said on the radio show on Sunday got attention, and so you reminded me of that. Maybe it's a good time to talk about that. And I think that the results at the major league level and good results at the major league level are what we're all in this for, right? Like we're all working hard every day to try to improve and get better, and all we want to do is win baseball games in Pittsburgh. And so, and when the outcomes aren't that way, in particular on a day where it's a tough day. Obviously, Sunday was a tough day. We're all frustrated, and our fans are frustrated, and everyone's frustrated, and we share that frustration. And I love that there's enough passion here that people are frustrated by that. I talked about progress because I really believe we are making progress, and I think that we can both be honest and say, we're really frustrated about bad outcome, particularly at a game like Sunday where we didn't play well. Really frustrated, and I think that that's true, and I think it's also true, and I believe it's true to say that we believe progress is being made, and those are two different things. And I understand that over time, the progress needs to turn into outcomes at the major league level, and I know that, and that's what our fans expect. That's what we certainly expect and want, and that's what we're driving toward. But we do see progress because we believe that we've got more talented players here, more and more talented players throughout the organization. We believe those players are getting better and will continue to get better. We also believe that we've spent time really looking at every aspect of baseball operations and trying to find ways to improve how we do our work. You name it, in any area, and we'll continue to do that. We'll continue to be dogged to try to get better at all those things, so it adds up to results. And of course, while we're doing all that, we'll all be frustrated. And these guys here in this clubhouse will be as frustrated as anybody when the outcomes are good. We want to win, we're competitive, but we've also got to try to help each other, compartmentalize that, show up the next day, focus on the stuff we can do to control that progress, and that's what I was trying to get to on Sunday. But I don't know if that specifically answers your question.
Ben, is that the type of thing, or I would imagine somebody in your position, like, it doesn't do you much good to verbalize, like, when you pissed off, or like, well or negative, like, given the situation.
Well, I wasn't happy at the end of the game Sunday, but I was asked that question before the game. I mean, no, like, we all are, we're human, right? Like, I think Shelby said it best at the end of the game Sunday, yes, we have a strategy and a plan, and we see progress, and that's really important. We've got to stick to that, be committed and listen to that. But yes, we also need to execute well, whether that's baseball operations executing well or executing on the field here. We've got to execute well, and when we don't execute well in any area, whether it's a draft pick or a trade or a decision or on the field here, we're going to be frustrated, and there's going to be emotion attached to that, and none of us were feeling good at the end of Sunday, but you got to get up and focus and get back to the stuff that we can do to hopefully control the progress and make it better.
Ben, what did you hear about Shelty's message to the team yesterday, and how was that received from
I think he just was talking about accountability and picking each other up, and that's not new, right? Like those are words that you share a lot, since the beginning of spring training. I don't think this group needs a lot of fire and brimstone, and so Shelby doesn't do that right a lot. Like it's a reminder sometimes about just taking care of your own business and being accountable for that. But this group responds well to tough days and generally comes back in their minds right where it needs to be.
Ben, what have you seen out of O'Neill the last couple weeks? It seems like he's heating up.
He's trending in a good direction, and the at-bats continue to go in the right direction. He's starting to hit back the ball more, and working hard, and doing all the stuff we're asking him to do. So we feel like the direction is very positive.
I know we don't have the same resources for, minor league fielding we do for majors, and it's obviously not the same that you guys have internally, but it seems like he's been grading out pretty well defensively at shortstop right now. I know that was a big area that you highlighted for development for him.
And even last year, like our stuff internally was positive on him at short. That's been the case. Again, look, he's like any player. It's not going to be perfect. There's going to be mistakes, but we feel confident that he can play shortstop. He certainly feels confident he can play shortstop, and he's playing more shortstop than anywhere else while he's in Indy. But we're gonna continue to make sure he has some extra clubs in his bag too, just in case he needs them.
Under the circumstances with Kevin Newman going on the 60-day, how hard is it to not be tempted to bring up O'Neill and just give him a run because of the shortstop position?
It just comes back to what we talked about before with timing and just wanting to see some things checked off, and really feel good he's heading in a really positive direction, and he's so important to us. I've said before, I'll say again, we would like to see him get opportunity in the major leagues, and I believe he will in 2022. But right now, we feel for a variety of reasons that Rodolfo and Diego Castillo are here, and those are the right guys to get time at shortstop right now, and we'll continue to assess that.
Ben, how's he doing in the outfield?
Good. Yeah, he hasn't played out there as much as shortstop, obviously, but when he's out there, he looks like he can play